Hi, my fourth grade friends. We're coming back. We are going to work with what happens to the energy when two objects collide or crash. So, if you've ever played with marbles or rocks or Hot Wheels and made them crash, typically one of them keeps coming. If it hits, like if this one's coming forward and it hits this one, some of the energy from this item gets transferred to this one, and this one will then move forward. Um, some of the energy gets lost and it gets used with as sound, and so then it gets lost. Um, but what we're going to do today is kind of explore what happens with the energy when two objects collide. So, first thing you need to realize that we already know, we already talked about this, but energy is just the ability to do work. It makes things happen. So, we talked about it with circuits and how when the electrons go through a circuit, it makes things happen. It can make a motor run, it can make a buzzer buzz, it can make a light up. So, energy is just the ability to do work. So, a Newton's cradle, I know most of you have seen this in the lab, but a Newton's cradle, if you pull this ball back, it'll come flying forward. When you hold it back up here, it's got potential energy. When you let it go and it swings forward, then it has kinetic energy, and that energy will come forward. It'll hit this ball, get transferred to this ball, to this ball, to this ball, to this ball. This ball will fly up, come back down, and the energy will just keep going back and forth. I wish we were in the lab because you'd all be able to play with the one that's in the lab, but next year we'll play with it. So that's a Newton's cradle. At the end of the video, I'll put in a link to a different Newton's cradle little clip, and then you'll be able to see that. So now we need to talk about kinetic and potential energy. So potential energy is stored energy, such as if it's stored in a battery, right? When we were talking about circuits, it could be stored in a battery. But what we're using today is not electrical energy or any of that kind. So stored energy, if you stretch a rubber band, you end up with potential energy in there. And if you let it go, it's going to go and it's going to move and it's going to have energy of movement, which is then kinetic energy. The water at the top of a waterfall, or if you have a ball on the top of a hill, or if your bike is on the top of a hill and you're getting ready to go down, when you're at the top of that hill, you have potential energy. As you move back down, then it becomes kinetic energy. Okay? So if I've got this remote, and I hold this remote here right now, it's not moving. It's not moving, it's not moving, it's not moving, it's not moving. It has potential energy. As soon as I let it go and it moves, then it has kinetic energy, okay? So gravitational energy is a form of kinetic energy. It is stored energy. So that's like what I said, if you're at the top of a hill, right, then you have potential energy being stored up. As soon as you would start moving, you would be using kinetic energy. They would have kinetic energy. So the higher up the hill is that you're on, the greater the amount of gravitational and potential energy you have up there. Once you start moving down, it becomes kinetic energy. Okay. So kinetic energy is just energy of movement. It is the energy of something that is moving. Okay. So once I dropped the remote, it was moving and it had kinetic energy. When it's not moving, it has potential energy. Okay, so here, different way of doing potential and kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, you need kinetic energy to move up a hill if you're riding your bike. So you're using kinetic energy to get up to the top of the hill. At the top of the hill, you have potential energy. You're just sitting there, you're waiting to move. And then once you go back down, you're using kinetic energy again. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we are going to set up an activity where you guys are going to test out potential and kinetic energy and look at and see how the energy transfers from one item to the next. So you're going to get 2 paper towel tubes and you're going to tape them together, and you'll see it in the video when I show you. You need a marble or other small roundish object. So I have marbles, but if you didn't have a marble, you could use, in my backyard, for example, I've got a palm tree, and there's these little round seed pods that fall off of my palm tree, and that would work. If you've got a golf ball, except I don't know if a golf ball would fit through a paper towel tube. But anything that's kind of small and roundish, it does not have to be perfect. Look through your games. If you've got like Chinese checkers, maybe they have a marble. Be creative. Think of something, find something small and round. You need a dice. One die is, dice is plural, die is singular. So you need one die, or a cork, or something else that's not round, that when a marble or the round thing comes down, it will hit this thing, but it won't go flying so far, because we don't want round things all over your house. I took some cardstock or paper and I cut it in half, and then I folded it in half, because on the ground you want to have kind of a ramp or something to be able to keep your items going in the same direction. If you've got two rulers, use two rulers. That's fine too. You just need something to keep the track going in the same direction. If you have a Hot Wheels track, that's awesome. If we were in the lab, we'd be using Hot Wheels track. You need some books or other items that will allow you to lift your ramp up. So I used my kids' reading books. You could use like boxes of soap that would be able to lift up. I don't know, anything that would lift, cereal boxes, like laying on their sides. Be creative. You need a ruler or a tape measure, and then a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen for recording your results. So pause this, go gather up your supplies, and then we'll keep on moving when you get back. Okay, we're back. So here, I have all my stuff that I need set up, okay? It's kind of what I told you to get. I've just got 2 paper towel tubes. I taped them together. My measuring tape is over here. If you have a ruler, that's fine too. I have a piece of paper as my track. If you have Hot Wheels track, use that. I have one die. I have a marble. So if you don't have something round, this is like a seed pod off of a palm tree in my backyard, and it works, okay? Anything that's kind of round. Okay, then I have my piece of paper, and I have a writing utensil. On my piece of paper, I'm just gonna put trial. That's how many times we're gonna go through it, okay? So I've got trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, trial 4, trial 5. On trial 1, I'm gonna have 2 books here, okay? Go ahead. Trial 2, I'm gonna stack it up and do another book. Trial 3, we're gonna do another book, okay? And then we're gonna record our results. So, when you set it up, you might want to tape your track down on the ground here, just in the beginning, so that it doesn't move. Put a little dot so that every time you start, you know where you're going to place your die or your thing that's not round. If you have a cork, that works, whatever. And then your ruler or your measuring tape is going to line up right where that object starts. And you want 0 to be here, and then the numbers are going to get bigger as you go, because we want to see how far it will travel, the distance that it will travel, the energy that gets transferred to the other object, and how far that will travel. That's what we want to see. So I'm not going to use this because I actually have a marble. I'm going to use my marble. I have my die set up right here. I have 2 books over here. My books, I'm not going to move sideways or back and forth. They're only going to get bigger because it's going to make my ramp get taller. It'll get steeper every time we go. So up here, when I'm holding my marble up here, it has potential energy. And I'm waiting with it up here. It's gonna come down, it'll hit the die, and then hopefully it will transfer some energy and it will move the die. Now listen when it happens and see if you hear any sound, because sound is energy. It would be the kinetic energy, the crashing creates sound, and that is gonna be some transfer of energy also. Okay, listen, go. Okay, so did you hear them? So here, I don't want to look at where my marble went. I want to look at where my die went. So if I look here and I put my pen kind of straight across, it moved 5.5 inches. So now over here, I would go to trial 1 and go 5.5, because 5.5 is 5.5, 5.5 inches. That's my first trial, okay? I do know from this that the marble did transfer some energy to the die because the die moved, okay? So now I'm gonna take my die, put it back on the die, pick up my marble, get a different book, add it under there. So now we're on trial 2, we have 3 books, okay? It's a little bit steeper now. We're gonna have more gravitational energy, right? More of that potential gravitational energy, okay? So now I'm gonna take my marble to the top, hold it up at the very top, okay? That's the exact same place. I'm gonna let it go. Okay, did you see? It went further this time. So this time, it actually went 9 inches. So I'm gonna come over here and go 9 inches, okay? You're gonna keep doing this. So now, add another book. I know the books are not all exactly the same. This is a home science experiment, not a precise exact experiment, because we are gonna figure out and we're gonna see patterns and we're gonna see how things are changing. Okay, put the die back, pick your marble up, bring it up, let it go again. Okay, see, I want you to see how far the die continues to travel. As the ramp gets steeper, how does that energy transfer? As you go, depending on how many books you have, keep trying. See how many you can do. And see what you notice over here. As the number of books increases, that means that your height is getting bigger. That means that your ramp is getting steeper. So as the number of books increases, see if you notice what happens over here. Is the distance that that die is moving becoming greater? If it is becoming greater, it must be telling us that as the ramp gets steeper, the marble has more kinetic energy. There's more energy to be passed from one object to the other. Notice the sound of the marble hitting the die. Does the sound any different? I don't know. I didn't even pay attention to that. I just thought about that. So that's what you're gonna do. If you guys find really cool things happening, feel free to email me at my school email. I'll put it in the links down below. If you want to send me a video of you guys doing this, I'd love to see you, or a picture, or whatever. I would love to see you guys because I miss you. I hope you're being kind. I hope you're being nice to everybody in your household. I know it's getting hard, but you're doing awesome. So that's what you're gonna do. You guys can try as many books as you have. Go as high as you want. If it gets steeper and steeper and steeper, eventually, I don't know what will happen. If you get to a certain steep, like a certain angle, then does it hit the ground too hard and not work, or does it still work really great? So that's what you guys are gonna check out. So let me know how it goes, okay?